Getting traffic to your OnlyFans page is one thing, but what does it matter if most of these subs aren't even talking? Realistically, most of the money that you make is going to come from the DMs. So if you can get more people talking, you're going to make more money. So here's 4 strategies you can use to get your inbox blowing up. So the first thing we can do to get subscribers engaging in the chats is utilize the main feed properly. If you think about it, this is your only other line of communication with subs other than the inbox. And a lot of subs don't look at their inbox, or it's flooded with other creators. There's just so much fake rubbish that a lot of them just disregard it. So how can we get them into the chats using the main feed? So one thing you can do is for the captions on your posts, use conversation starting call to actions. Now, a lot of creators say things like, talk to me or message me. It's not that interesting. There's no real reason why they're actually going to message you. I don't think it's that effective. Instead, we want to spark some curiosity, give them an actual reason, something they want to hear about that's going to make them message you. Something like, try and guess what I'm up to tonight. Or, I did something over the weekend, want to hear about it? Now, if the creator's in a certain niche and there's something that you can do that's more specific to them, great. I would say use something like this every 3 posts. And another thing, make sure the main feed has something on it every single day. There is a direct correlation between earnings and content on the main feed. I've seen it, 100%. If you're not posting, people forget about you, right? So at least have one thing on the wall every single day. One of these every 3 posts at least. Also, make sure the chatters are aware. So make sure the chatters know that there's something here. Prepare a story for them to, or a response, whatever it is, make sure they know or you're going to look stupid. Now, something else you can do is use incentives. So little challenges as captions for your main feed posts that are going to say, if you send me this in the chat, then I'll give you free content, right? Simple. So you want to do this in the form of some sort of challenge. And there's a few things to consider with that. You want to make sure that it's something really easy to do, or subs will not do it. I tried to be really clever one time and was like, oh, well, I'll say, tell me your funniest sex story and I'll send you something free. Barely anyone did it because no one can be fucked, right? No one can be fucked doing that. Here are 2 challenges you can use that are pretty simple that will actually work. Something I call the guessing game. You could say, guess my favorite color and I'll send you something. Guess my favorite sex position, I'll give you something. Guess something. One word, simple, right? And the time game. That's basic. I haven't seen a lot of people do this, but basically the premise is you say, message me at exactly 7:38 p.m. Eastern time, for example. You're going to get a massive influx of people messaging you at that time, and if they get it on the minute, you send them something for free. Not a bad deal, right? Pretty easy to do, and it also helps you pick when the big influx of engagement is going to come through. So that's really handy. Just make sure it's easy. Now, again, make sure the chatters are aware of this, or it's just going to fall apart. Like they're not going to know that this is happening. People are going to be saying like green, 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 or whatever, and the chatter's going to go like, are you sweet? And it's going to be terrible. So don't do that. When you put up your caption with the challenge, it works better if you say free surprise in all capitals. So it's really clear. Don't just say, I'll give you a surprise. People are stupid. They might not know what that is. If you go free surprise, very obvious, you're going to give them something for free. You can decide what you give them. Just give them some pictures or content or anything. But this is the most important part, right? You need your chatters to be able to capitalize on the reply, or the whole thing is pointless. It's not just they come on, you give them something for free and they go. The moment you send them something, you need to hook them in. Say something like, oh, can I ask you a question? Oh, I just had an idea. I just felt like doing something. Oh, try be a bit more creative than how are you? But you just need to make sure that the chatter is on them, makes the conversation, gets them talking. Otherwise, the whole thing is pointless. So for strategy number 2, the way that the chatters are engaging in conversation matters a lot. I'm not just going to tell you, be interesting, like it's important, but just hear me out. First thing I want you to do is just pause this video, go and look at the OnlyFans accounts that you're running, right? Or your OnlyFans account or whatever. I want you to just click on all, right, in the inbox, click all, and start scrolling lower and lower, scroll through everything, and look for people where you've sent them a message a long time ago, right? And just open it and you're gonna notice, wow, everyone's leaving me on red all the time. I'm just being left on red and I don't even realize. And I 100% guarantee it's happening so much more than you think. There's a few things we can do about that. Number one, most important, pretty obvious too, don't look like a chatter if you're a chatter. I've even put a full stop for a bit of emphasis on that, right? So, things like grammar, spelling, and being able to recall information, right? It's so important. Obviously, the grammar needs to be right. Spelling needs to be right. If the sub has told you what their job is, you need to be able to remember that. You don't ask them, how are you, 5 times in the same hour. Don't do it, because they're just going to leave you on red going, oh, this is a chatter. Some people blow up when they think it's a chatter. Most people just start ignoring you when they think it's a chatter. A good thing you can tell your chatters to do is use capital letters at the start of sentences. It's obvious, but make sure they're using the capital letters. Make sure they're using question marks at the end of questions. Make sure they use humorous emojis and they have little attempts to be funny. You don't have to be, that funny, but just attempt humor. Don't just be this emotionless sex bot. Have actual conversations and people are going to talk to you. This is probably the biggest one. Carry the conversation. So many chatters don't even know how to do this at all. They have no idea what this is. So a lot of chatters think, oh, well, the sub's here, I'll be polite and I'll just ask them questions about themselves. Everyone likes talking about themselves, right? It's like, not really. They do, but it's effort for the sub. If you're asking them fucking 20 questions, oh, what do you do for work? How was your day? What was the highlight of your day? Blah, 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 blah. And you just question after question after question. If the sub is on OnlyFans to unwind or some shit, or take their mind off something, and you're just making them think and answer shit, they'll just leave you on red because they can't be bothered. Talk about yourself more. And it's really hard to get chatters to do this because they don't know what to talk about. It's effort. It is effort. But look at it like your job is an entertainer. Chatting on OnlyFans, you're trying to entertain these people. So talk about yourself. What did you do today? What do you bring up topics for conversation, right? Even if they're being dry, always ask another question. Never leave the conversation on something that is hard for them to reply. Make it so just easy for them to reply and they're going to reply. Never let it end. Never let the conversation end. It's the same thing, but one little trick is if you say, if the sub's going to sleep and you say good night, fine. Set a timer for 5 minutes. So once they're off, after you've said bye, and say, oh, I can't sleep. I'm still thinking about you. So in the morning, they see it and they message you back. We're just trying to keep that conversation alive so it never ends because you probably don't even realize it. There would have been so many subs that came through. Maybe they bought $500 worth of stuff once. They said bye and that was it. And they never spoke again. Especially if you've got a lot of traffic. That's where all your money's going, right? That's where all your money's going. Another thing, which is all similar, but follow up. You need to accept that people are going to forget to reply to you. They're not necessarily being rude. People have lives. People have kids and jobs and they're at work and whatever. Their phone dies and they just forget about it. So you need to be looking for those 2 ticks. If you're talking to someone, make sure that the chatters know to open the chat back up. They haven't replied for an hour. Why? Open it up. Okay, they haven't seen it. Open this one up. Okay, he's seen it. Tom, what are you doing? Right? Still there? Still with me? Follow up with them. Use your eyes. right? The chatters need to be able to recognize, well, they just need to think about who they're talking to, make sure that they keep on top of them and not forget about it. The amount of times that I'm managing the chats and the chatters, they've left some guy they're scripting for 10 minutes. 10 minutes. On Inflow, open them in a new tab. If you use Inflow, open the chat in a new tab so you can see when they reply, but if they haven't replied for a long time, check it in case they've left you unread. Inevitably, some people will just slip through the cracks no matter how good your conversation is. And a great way to re-engage them at large is using mass messages. Now, I used to have mixed feelings about mass messages. I went through a period of not sending them at all, and then we went back to sending them less. Now, what I've concluded, well, at the time of this video, I do believe that mass messages are effective for engaging subs. Even though they can be massively overused, creators do them, well, agencies do them, and they're terrible, spammy garbage, but there is a way to get them right. So what you send and when you send it is going to make the difference. If you're sending heaps of really low effort, dumb, overused mass messages, hey, what are you doing? Guess what I'm doing? Want to hear something? Like stuff like that? Yes. People are going to just get the shits and mute you. 100%. When you send it matters too. It can be tempting to send out messages during dead times to pick up the account, but it can be better to just send it when it's the peak time to get a massive influx, because ultimately you're competing with the most recent person on the inbox. So if they're on OnlyFans and you send a mass message, most likely to get a reply, right? Sweet. So we want to avoid generic garbage. Like I said, hey, what are you doing? Anything like that. Let's steer clear of that. Something to consider though. The more sexual it is, the mass message, the easier it's going to be to transition into selling, but it's also going to come across as more spammy. And then the less sexual it is, the harder it'll be to transition, but it'll seem a little bit less spammy. So there's a bit of a trade-off there, and you have to decide. I would depend on how desperate you are to make money at that time, on how sexual you make it. And when I say a sexual mass message, I don't like things that say, guess what I'm doing right now? Like, I'm in the shower, babe, want to have some fun? Very overused. Something that, a good frame that I like to use for all things chatting is you want to sneak up on them, right? Because while there are people that are on OnlyFans to spend money, buy content and sext, there are a lot of people that will, but they're there for a connection and that sort of thing. So if we send super sexual captions and it's obvious we're just trying to make a sale, we're only going to attract that first kind of person. But if we send something that's just a conversation starter, then it's going to attract both. So there's a good middle ground where you can send sort of a neutral sexual mass message. That could be something like, do you prefer the lights on or off during sex, for example? That's a really good one because it's not saying, oh, right now I'm doing this. It's just starting a conversation, but it will be sexual and it's very easy to transition. Remember before how I was saying it's really important to make it as easy as possible for the sub to reply? For that reason, I've found that the best mass messages for getting replies are ones that consist of 2 possible answers. So that could be, do you prefer tits or ass? Do you prefer red or green? Do you prefer America or Australia? These are they're not amazing examples, but like, do you prefer the lights on or off during sex? That's a good one that uses that principle. Because if you expect people to send you some big thought out reply, some will, a lot of them cannot be bothered. So if you say, oh, can you tell me about your favorite holiday destination? Can you tell me a funny story? Can you tell me a hot story? Like anything like that, a lot of them just will not do it, right? They just can't be bothered. Make it really, really easy. This is good. Don't use the same kind of thing every time. Like don't send out 3 of these per day or anything. But If you really want replies, these work super well. Just make it as easy as possible for them to reply. Now, conversational ones can work in moderation. So that could be something that actually seems like you've reached out and messaged them. What are you doing with the rest of your night? How are you spending your weekend? Want to know what I'm doing on the weekend? Things like that. I wouldn't overuse them because a lot of creators do, but if you just sprinkle them in there, you'll be able to attract some of those other people that won't go for these ones that are kind of clearly mass messages. On that topic, different topics of mass messages will attract different audiences. A good example of this is the other day we sent out something that was like, oh, I was thinking about getting a tattoo. Should I get a butterfly or a tiger? It doesn't have to be true, but that got people to reply that had tattoos or people that hated tattoos. And then we also sent one out saying, oh, I want to move somewhere in Europe. Should I go to Greece or Italy or something like that? So we're using that principle, and it's a completely different topic. A bunch of different people that didn't reply to that other one replied. So you want to be changing up the topics here and there. You'll get different people who are into different things that feel like they have something to say on that topic. On this, again, make sure that the chatters can take that reply and turn it into a conversation. You want to elaborate on it. Get them to go into more detail. You should go into more detail about your answer to the question, if that makes sense. So with that, do you prefer the lights on or off during sex? You could say, oh, well, I prefer them on because I like watching in the mirror. I don't know, anything. You just want to really keep the conversation going once you've got that reply. To keep it really simple, a good analogy is it's better to have a multiple choice mass message rather than an fucking extended response. I don't know why I'm using analogies like we're in high school, but it's a good way of thinking about it. Really quick, if you're enjoying this video so far, please consider leaving a like. I drop videos like this every week, so if you take value from them, consider subscribing. Thank you. Now, for the last and most effective method of getting subs to engage, it's sending out personalized messages. Regardless of how good your mass messages are, some people are just not going to reply to them. So if your chatters can get good at this, you'll realize how much money has just been left on the table, right? So first things first, who do we message? Well, you can message online fans. If you use a CRM like Inflow or Creator Hero, they've got their online fans feature when it fucking works, which seems like never as of late, but anyway. So that's your first option. Next, big spenders. I would use the smart list feature of Inflow. Pretty sure Creator Hero and the other ones have it. Whatever. It's just those dynamic lists where you can set, if they've spent over 1,000, if they've spent over 500, it'll put them in the list and update them, right? So then you can just say to the chatters, I want you to message all of the big spenders. I want you to message all of the medium spenders, right? So that works well. Next, new subs. On Inflow, you can see the new subs. So you click on subscriptions and you look for people who have subscribed in the past week. And they just scroll through those and they start messaging them. Start messaging all the new people again, just message them, right? People that buy things. So you can look through the purchases, same deal. So there's the subscription tab and the purchase tab. You can go through all of the purchases and message the people that have been buying recently, because some people you forget about and you'll be like, oh, that guy bought a script 3 days ago. I'll message him, right? Or if someone buys a mass pay-per-view or something like that, you can just message off the back of that. Whenever you see someone engage, they renew their subscription, they buy content that was left for them, or they tip, the chatter needs to be on them, messaging them. Now, here's another trick that I don't think many people are aware of, especially on Inflow. So there's Messenger Pro, which is what your chatters probably should be using, the Messenger Pro window. And then there's just the standard Inflow window, right? So if you open up the notifications on the standard Inflow window, then you'll be able to see subs who like posts, like your main feed posts. It'll pop up and it'll pop up as a little notification there, right? as long as that creator is selected. That way, the moment someone likes something, you go, oh, thanks for liking that, blah, blah. Pick up the conversation from there, right? So not many people are doing that, but you'll realize a lot of people come through and they start liking stuff and then they never message. So nip that, get to these people that are liking posts, they're engaging. Let's make some money off them, right? So what do we actually send in these personal messages? We know who to send it to. Well, the longer and more personalized the message is, the better. If you just say, how have you been, Jack? Right? That is so dull. Like, they're not going to reply to that. It's just boring. Let's try and think beyond that. So you always want to use their name, obviously, right? You want to use their name. You want to say something like, you want to bring up information that you know about them. So if you've got the notes filled out, which really your chatters should be doing that, and you know about their job, or you know about like their family situation, you know about anything that they do. If they play basketball, how's basketball been? If they're a chef, I don't know, it's like been cooking up anything great lately. It doesn't matter, as long as you show that it's not a mass message and it looks like you put actual thought into that and you've been thinking about them, they're going to be more likely to reply. Send multiple messages. Send one like, hey, Jack, and then go, oh, I was just wondering if you sorted that stuff out with that person that was annoying you at work. I don't know, right? I've been thinking about you. You want to like sort of play on their emotions a little bit, but don't do it in a negative way. Don't guilt trip people and be like, oh, we haven't talked for so long. Why are you avoiding me? That's just rubbish. Don't do that. You want to use something like, oh, like, I hope you've been doing great. I've been thinking about you. If you get a chance to have a chat sometime, just message me. Whatever. Anything like that is going to just play on their emotions, but keep it positive. That's the key. And last thing is, keep trying. If you see that they've been messaged a few times, like, just, if it's personalized messages, keep sending them, right? Keep sending them. Just do it every few days, whatever. Just change them up each time. Make them a little bit funny. Don't be polite, right? Like, this is an aggressive thing. The more aggressive chatters will generally make the most money. That's just the truth. Like, build connection, yeah, true, but you need to be putting yourself in front of them as much as you can. Now, once you apply these strategies and you want to monitor how the engagement's going, a great place to look is at the fans chatted metric. That's what it's called on Inflow. It might be called something else on the other ones. Basically, you want to see how many different people the chatters are talking to. That's a good indication of how many people are engaging and how many people the chatters are reaching out to, trying to get them to engage. If you get a big influx in traffic, obviously that's going to go up too. So just take that into consideration. Now, following up. This is so important in so many places, right? Chatters need to know if they're selling people, keep checking to see if they've just left you on read, and then follow up. If you send out personalized messages and the people aren't replying to it, keep following up. You have nothing to lose. Just change up your approach each time. Go to them, right? Don't wait for people to come into the shop. If you want to make the most money, you need to be knocking on doors, sending out mass messages, sending personalized messages, utilizing the main feed, using all these things to get as many people to talk as possible. Mindful chatting. The chatters need to know that when they're talking to people, they need to be thinking about keeping them talking. Don't just ask them 20 questions. Talk about yourself. Make yourself entertaining, easy to talk to, right? So people will keep coming back and the conversation never ends. Effort earns replies. This applies with mass messages, personalized messages. Yeah, sure, you can send out hey to all your fans 5 times a day, but not many of them are going to reply, right? Because it's just low effort and they can see that. If you put actual thought into it, proper things that are going to start conversations, and you change it up all the time, more likely to reply. If you're sending out personalized messages and you bring up information that you know about them, more likely to reply, right? Effort earns replies. Make replying easy with everything. When it's the incentives on the main feed or if it's mass messages, anything, just always think, What can we do to make replying so easy that they just will, right? Make replying as easy as possible. You're going to have more people talking to you, more money's going to be made, and everyone's going to be happy. Enjoy the rest of your day.